This one? Good afternoon, Jean and friends. Yes. Yes. Yeah, you should sit. Yes. Okay, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us online and in person here. My name is George Akoko. I'm a water management specialist from FAO Land and Water Division, and I'll be moderating this event in collaboration with Ms. Noor Busha, who will be our moderator for the online participants. So, next slide, please. So welcome to this side event again, promoting opportunity crops towards the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. This is our agenda for today. We'll have some opening remarks from Mr. Jean Boroto. There's a video, which is about 10 minutes long. For those of us who are here early enough, there was some popcorn, but it's all now finished. So yeah, you'll make do with just watching. Apologies for that. Then we'll go to a presentation by Ms. Felicitas. And then we'll have a panel discussion, interactive discussion with all participants. There's a Mentimeter, there's a quiz, so please take note of any quantitative information in particular, 10 simple true or false questions. And in this quiz, there's some prizes. You can see to my right, there's some mystery boxes in the corner, so yeah, I like the attention level just went up, so yeah, get ready, and then we'll have the closing remarks. So yes, if you have any question or comment, please keep it for the discussion session. And if you're online, you can post it in the chat. And our online moderator will take it from there. So for now, I'll welcome Mr. Jean Boroto, the Senior Land and Water Officer at FAO, to deliver the opening remarks. Mr. Jean.
Thank you, George. What George did not say, he asked me to tell you to listen carefully, because what I'm going to say has some clues to the questions that will allow you to win some of those mystery prizes. So, of course, I don't know how many people we have online. We are not so many in the room, but I think it's the quality of engagement that matters. The theme of this edition of the World Water Week, Water for Climate Action, is at the core of our work in the Land and Water Division at FAO. Why? It's because agriculture, which is our core business, is responsible for 70% of freshwater abstractions. And with regard to climate change, agriculture is both a victim and a culprit. So in this regard, during the last 3 days here in Stockholm, we have participated in a number of sessions, side events, where some solutions were being discussed. Drought management, I acknowledge the presence of my colleague Maher Salman, who was in that session. Irrigation, specifically farmer-led irrigation development that took place, I think, in this room next door yesterday. Rainwater harvesting on day one. And I think one of the most popular topic is nature-based solutions. In FAO, we prefer to call them ecosystem-based solutions. So today, in this event, we invite you to share our passion for some of our work which is recent and emerging. It is recent because we only started working on this, like conceptualizing the idea in 2023, and then starting some first desktop work, then consulting with the countries, and then going into the field, as you will note it today, from Malawi. What we are going to talk about is opportunity crops, but traditionally they are called indigenous crops, sometimes forgotten crops, and even in some of our own publications in FAO, neglected crops. But they are now considered opportunity crops. And in the context of this World Water Week, they are definitely part of the package of solutions for water for climate action. Why? These crops, these opportunity crops, are drought resilient. Some of them are nutritious. They have the potential to improve biodiversity, both below the ground, so for soil biodiversity, and above the ground for floral and faunal biodiversity. They can also play a great role in the overall water balance, reducing competition for scarce water. So we put SDG in the title. And listen carefully. I'm pointing to the prices. We promote these crops because they contribute to several SDGs. And I will name a few. 13, climate action. 2, zero hunger. 1, no poverty. Obviously, 6, water and sanitation. 8, decent work and economic growth. 15, life on land. 5, gender equity. And you will see it by the composition of our panel speakers that we take seriously SDG 5, gender equality. I'd like to thank Maggie from the Water Youth Partnership, who will be one of our panelists. Water Youth Parliament Network. Youth Parliament for Water. I mean, she will say it better than me. They are among the recent partners of WASAG. And we really welcome your participation because we believe in the role of the youth. Our other panelists are online. Nolifa from Malawi, she'll be actually like our key speaker, because not only she'll make a presentation, but the video that you'll see comes from her. It is raw from the field. It has not been edited, but we felt that we should not let perfect be the enemy of good. So it's a good video, but the final version, once it's edited, will be hopefully perfect. Then we have Felicitas, our colleague for our Land and Water Division. She will be intervening from her home country in Zimbabwe, where she's on leave, but she has kindly accepted to join us. And Krishna will be intervening all the way from Morocco, from Icarda. You are not many in the room. I don't know how many are online, but we thank you for being here, and we mostly look forward to engaging you. We had discussions with some friends from Tieni in Malawi, because the work that we are doing in Malawi, it's also in Malawi that we'll present. And we've already discussed with Tieni, who are promoting rainwater harvesting in a very innovative way, opportunities for synergies. So the next step, when I conclude, I'll say how I see our future collaboration, and I would like to stop here and hand back the mic to our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for your opening remarks. If we can go to the next slide. So we are going to watch a video on what we call an AWSAME project. I should have said this before. You're all good people, but for the moment, AWSAME is our project. Maybe if you're nice, we'll call you AWSAME audience as well. So AWSAME stands for Addressing Water Scarcity in Agriculture and the Environment. It's a 10-minute video, and I'll ask our IT support team to play it. Over to you, Jason.
My name is Noli Samponya. I'm a principal plant conservationist, responsible characterization, seed conservation, which is ex-situ conservation. Specifically for this project, I'm a national focal point in the Department of Agriculture Research Service. The AWSAME project, which has been interpreted to say addressing water scarcity in agriculture and environment, it's an initiative under FAO, promoting cultivation of underutilized or neglected crops that have got potential to address issues of water scarcity, agricultural productivity, and nutrition at the same time. And so under this initiative, we were 4 countries that were selected to undertake the pilot phase of the project. It was Malawi, Cape Verde, South Sudan, and Morocco. Looking at the interest that Malawi expressed when they introduced this initiative, we were given a go-ahead and provided with the resources to start demonstrating by characterizing the materials, doing the evaluations, and involving stakeholders in selecting these materials. Basically, what we wanted to demonstrate as Malawi, there is potential in neglected crops. There were a number of crops that were selected regionally to be included in this initiative. But then cowpea and sorghum were identified as the crops that are cutting across all these countries. Here at Shiteze, we are only doing the characterization and evaluation of cowpeas. In Salima, Chitara, we are doing the same, the cowpeas. Whilst in Ishikwawa, we are characterizing and evaluating the genetic diversity of cowpeas as well as the sorghum crop germplant.
My name is Thompson Lifa. I am the senior technician at Malawi Plant Genetic Resource Center. Here in Chitala, Salima district, we have a trial. This trial is called cowpea characterization and evaluation for agronomic performance. Here we have 24 entries of cowpeas that is replicated 4 times. What we're doing here, we call it participatory variety selection. We involve the farmers because we would want them to at least to help us in the data collection, so that that information will help us in the release of the cowpea varieties. And the second reason is for them to assess the performance of the varieties of the cowpeas, so that by the end of the day, they will know the type of the varieties or the behaviors of the varieties. So it will be easy for them to adopt the traits that they wanted in these cowpea varieties. We are focusing on the cowpea crop because what we want here in Malawi is firstly is a diversification. Diversification, and because most people just, when it comes to legumes, what they know is beans. And the other reason is that we promote the growing of those varieties that we fear that maybe they will become extinct in the near future. So cowpea is one of them.
Participatory variety selection, it's very key to promoting adoption of the varieties that we intend to promote or release at a later stage. We understand that we have a number of technologies that we are releasing some time back, but they are still on the shelf. They have not yet been adopted by different users. Why? It's because maybe most of these materials were developed, the technologies or the varieties were developed without involving the users.
Ndiye kugoma kwake kwankhala tsonga mumatha kumakolola bwinobwino mosavutikira kusiyana ndi yoyanga. Komanso tikakhala kuti tikuonetsetsa mbewu ija, timaona kuti mbewu ija isalowererane ndi inzake. Monga ngati ife alimi timadziwa zimenezo, komanso timadziwa kuti pamene tasankhula mbewu iyi tikuyenera kuyikhazika malo oti tikathe kuchulukitsa. Ngakhale munthu oti angabwere ofuna mbewu, timpatsa mbewu yoyenerera. Komanso mbewu ya khobwe imeneyi ndi mbewu ya khobwe yopambana timatha kuphika chipere mbewu ya khobwe imeneyi, timatha kupanga nyama khobwe ana ndikumatafuna, komanso timatha kupanga ndiwo, timatha kupanganso makata kungobwatitsa asi ndikumadya ngati mtedza ophika ndithu wa makoko. Apa ndapezapo mitundu iwiri, pali khobwe wanseula ndiye pali akuluakulu timati chimphonongolo mkulumkulu uja. Eya, ndikufunika kwambiri alimi azisankha nawo mbewuzo kuti iwonso asakangotenga mbewu yongosokonekera, koma akathe kunyamula mbewu imene yoti nawonso akakayisankhula akathe kupitiriza ndi mbewu yoyenerera.
Ndine pemphani Kawera Manchere ndikuchokera ku scheme number 1 kusalima kumwe kuno. Oli tataphunzira mmene amalimira mbewu ya khobwe, komanso taphunzirapo kuti maberekedwe a khobwe ndi mtundu wake, dzina la mbewuyo. Taonanso mbewu yoyenera kuti yothandiza alimi, pati mangolima mbewu zimene zotsatira zake tikakolola zimakhala zochepa, koma apapa taphunzira kuti mbewu iyi zatipasa zokolola zambiri. Taonapo mbewu za mitundu itatu zoti ndi nyengo imene ili kuno kusalima zikhoza kupindulitsa mlimi. Tikuyembekeza kuti mabwana amene abwerawa azatipasa mbewu yoti yoyenera ndi imenenso aonera amene alima kuno kuti tasankhira.
At Malawi Plant Genetic Resource Center, we have what we call the collection missions. We move around the country to collect what we call accessions. We collect the plants that we fear that maybe they will become scarce in the near future, and we also go to the drought-prone areas where we fear that maybe the crops will become extinct. So, apart from the drought, also we focus on the areas where we have cyclones. So we focus on those areas so that we do not lose those varieties. So from this, we sourced the whole Malawi, and we kept them at the Malawi Gene Bank. That's where we had to take them and bring them to Salima to assess them here at Digital Research Station.
Uthenga umene ndingapereke walimi anzanga amene amalima khobwe, pitirizani kulima mbewu ya khobwe. Mbewu ya khobwe silira mvula yambiri, ngakhale yochepa umatha kukolola. Ndiye osabwerera mbuyo tiyeni tilimbikire. Kapamene tidzala chimanga tikhoza kuyikamo khobwe. Kapamalo ochepa ndithu timatha kukhala ndi matumba ambiri a khobwe.
I would say diversification. At least we should not forget other crops and just focus on the crops that we already know. That's why we're here, at least encouraging farmers also to grow cowpeas.
We are saying, farmers from the center, can we please come and get some small quantities of seeds from the National Gene Bank? We are doing this, we are going to promote these materials across the country. But we are saying, in case you did not know that you can cultivate cowpeas in the center, it is possible you can cultivate cowpeas in the center and, do business, produce, sell, and you have your money in the pocket. For those that are in the Shire Valley, the southern region, we also do likewise. We are doing evaluations of sorghum. We are going to release. The good thing is that we are involving farmers. And so farmers, they already know, they have already selected the varieties that they want. So at the end of the day, once those ones are released, okay, we are saying, much as we are releasing these materials, they can also start cultivating already, because these are not hybrids. If we want our work to impact the community, okay, we need to involve the community. Let us hear their needs as we are doing our research. Let us incorporate their ideas, their issues, their preferences, and that's why we are involving a number of stakeholders. You are most welcome to come in groups, get some small samples of seeds of cowpeas and try cultivate and see it for yourself, evaluate it for yourself, and then give us feedback. They can consult our partners, the seed services unit, to train them in seed production, and then they are good to go. It's important to acknowledge support from FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, through the AWSAME initiative. If it were not for these resources, we wouldn't have managed to do this. We are trying our best. It's working. Whatever the ideas that you had, to say, let's promote these neglected crops to deal with issues of water scarcity, declining soil. It's really working. We have this experiment is a testament to that.
Great. A big thanks to the FAO Malawi office and Ms. Dr. Nolifa for leading the research over there and also coordinating the production of this video. I think they deserve a round of applause for this. And personally, my take from her quotes, and I know Dr. Nolifa will join us soon online, and if she's hearing me, please trademark this as soon as possible. She says, if we need to work to impact our community, we need to involve the community. So, Dr. Nolifa, over to you. Next, we have Ms. Felicitas Mugariri. She's a water, crop, and nutrition analyst, and she will share with us on addressing water scarcity in agriculture and the environment methodology. She'll present an overview of this. Over to you, Felicitas.
Thank you very much, George. So my name is Felicitas, and I work as a water, crops, and nutrition analyst in the Land and Water Division at FAO HQ. So all of us gathered here, we know the that water scarcity is no longer a distant risk. It is a present reality shaping our food systems. Is already highlighted by Mr. Jean Boroto. I'm not going to go into detail about the challenges. So today I would like to focus on one particular dimension of the solution, that is the role of opportunity crops. And these opportunity crops, they can contribute to addressing water scarcity while also strengthening food security, nutrition, and biodiversity. And ultimately, this work supports SDGs, particularly SDG 1, 2, 5, 6, and 13. So AWSAME is addressing water scarcity for agriculture and environment, and it supports FAO's strategic framework. It links directly to better environment, but also contributes to other three betters, that is better production, better nutrition, and better life. It does this through a multidisciplinary approach. At the center of this framework are opportunity crops, which are crops that thrive in dry conditions, require fewer resources, and provide strong nutritional and biodiversity benefits. And by promoting these crops, we can address water scarcity and improve food and nutrition security, and broadly support SDGs, as I mentioned earlier on. Next slide, please. So what exactly does AWSAME aim to do? So first, we promote indigenous drought-resilient crops, crops like millet, sorghum, cowpeas, as we saw from the video that just played, that are naturally adapted to harsh conditions. Secondly, we look at their value chains from field to fork, ensuring that they bring socioeconomic benefits to farmers and communities. And lastly, we highlight their nutritional and biodiversity value, ensuring that these crops contribute to healthier diets and stronger ecosystems. Next slide, please. So we have developed a methodology for AWSAME, which is going to be published by year-end, and it guides the implementation of AWSAME across diverse countries and regions, ensuring context-specific approaches. So on the right there, we see a diagram that summarizes the methodology. So we have crop identification and assessment, where we identify opportunity crops and conduct a multi-dimensional baseline assessment of crops that will be prioritized by a certain country. Then we do capacity development of training of extension workers, of research institutes, strengthening skills and data management. And then we do food experiments where we do on-farm and greenhouse trials, crop characterization, and nutrition profiling. Then after that, we look at the local food value chains and development, where we try to strengthen local food value chains for the selected opportunity crops to promote market access and generate income for the local communities. Then we also do nutritional education and promotion, where we raise awareness on the nutritional and health benefits of these opportunity crops and promote the consumption of healthy diets. Then we also look at policy engagement and knowledge sharing, and then we do monitoring and evaluation and learning. So this methodology is also gender sensitive and youth oriented, and we'll learn more from Dr. Nolifa highlighting the experiences that they had from Malawi. Next slide, please. So in terms of implementation highlights, we have a database currently in Excel developed together with CIRED, where we have a list of more than 100 indigenous crops, where we list their geographical distributions, their nutritional value, if they're drought resilient, and so forth. And then building on this, we are preparing a compendium on the indigenous drought resilient nutritious crops, building on several existing resources such as the Compendium of Forgotten Fruits of Africa, the VAX Opportunity Crops, and the Rotary Sustainable Nutrition Resources. In this publication, we have selected a few representative crops per food group, for example, cereals, pulses, vegetables, and for each we document how they perform under droughts, their soil characteristics, and also the benefits that they give to the soil, their nutritional value, the socioeconomic benefits, and also their traditional and modern culinary uses. So please keep an eye out for this publication on our website. It will be a very practical resources for countries and different stakeholders who want to work on opportunity crops. We also held a consultative workshop in Morocco with stakeholders from Malawi, Cabo Verde, South Sudan, and Morocco. We presented some crops from the database, but also have countries prioritize crops based on their own context and needs. So here we learned that context specificity exists within and also between countries. For example, in Malawi, there is an issue of mukuna, which is an indigenous vegetable and also a cover crop, where you find that within Malawi, in some regions, some people would love to promote this, but you see that others not so much, because they think it's poisonous, but actually it's because it needs certain ways of processing for them to be safe for consumption. And then between countries, you see that as much as most African countries accept millets, but for countries like Cabo Verde, they do not have an interest in millets. So you see that there's an issue of context specificity, which is why we go to countries and have these consultative workshops where they actually prioritize their own crops. So this way, the initiative remains country-driven and relevant on the ground. So we did further consultative field engagements in Cabo Verde and Malawi, and the pilot phase is now being done in Malawi, where they're focusing on sorghum and cowpeas. So with the development of local food value chains of the prioritized opportunity crops, jobs will be created and income will be generated for farmers and local communities. And this ensures that their livelihoods are improved even in the face of climate change, especially recurrent droughts that we have observed, particularly in the southern part of Africa. Next slide, please. So our areas of implementation are the 4 countries, but again, as I highlighted earlier on, the pilot is being done in Malawi. And then now AWSAME is now being integrated into other FAO projects. For example, in Tunisia and Mozambique, we are linking AWSAME with the Soil Mapping for Resilient Agri-Food Systems project, what we call SoilFAM. So SoilFAM generates high-resolution soil data through its geospatial platform. So in Tunisia and Mozambique, AWSAME will have geographic information that identifies optimal crop choices and give recommendations based on site-specific soil conditions. So currently with AWSAME, we rely on local expertise for site selection, but with the integration of the geospatial platform of SoilFAM, we'll be able to tell the specific soil types in different areas, and we know which crops to prioritize and in which regions. So this integration means that opportunity crops aren't just promoted in general terms, but they are matched with the right soils and region for maximum sustainability and impact. Next slide, please. So our plans for the future with AWSAME, we are going to publish the compendium and also the methodology. We are going to expand. We are currently expanding the project in Mozambique and Tunisia, as I explained in the previous slide. We are also doing resource mobilization to upscale the project in Malawi and in other countries and regions. And as part of the funding that we have currently, we developed 4 global proposals, which are like essential tools that we have currently to kickstart our resource mobilization. We're going to have webinars and knowledge exchange workshops where we're also going to learn from Malawi, lessons learned. We're also going to just share with different partners and learn more about opportunity crops. And we're also going to showcase AWSAME at global fora, like the 3rd WASAC International Fora in the Dominican Republic in May of 2026. So in closing, I would like to conclude by saying AWSAME is a very good example of an initiative that shows that by investing in the right crops, those that are resilient, nutritious, and locally adapted, we can use water more wisely. We can adapt agriculture to climate change, and at the same time improve nutrition, strengthen value chains, and support healthier ecosystems. And it is worth investing in such initiatives because they demonstrate how water for climate action can also mean water for food security, water for resilience, and water for sustainable development. Thank you very much for your attention. Do not hesitate to reach us through our email provided on the last slide and visit our webpage on the link below. Thank you, and back to you, George.
Thank you for your presentation, Felicitas, and indeed there's more information which can be shared on the link provided below. The next segment will move to a panel discussion, and I'd like to invite Ms. Maggie Marco and Mr. Jean Boroto to the stage. Ms. Maggie Marco is a member of the World Youth Parliament for Water. Our other panelists, the 3 of them will be online. We've just heard from Ms. Felicitas Mugariri, and next we'll also have Ms. Dr. Nolifa Mponya. We saw her in the video, the senior scientist from Malawi Plant Genetic Resources Center, and Dr. Krishna Devokta, a senior scientist in dryland farming at the International Center for Agricultural Research in the Dryland Areas, ICARDA. So I'll pose the first question to Maggie. It's twofold. So Maggie, from the youth perspective, and having listened to the prospect that these opportunity crops offer towards meeting the SDGs, one, what role do you see for the youth as the ones responsible for the future to promote these type of crops? And number 2, is this something attractive and you will find, and what would you suggest as actions to ensure that this opportunity is maximized in the future?
Thank you so much, George. Hello, everyone. I am Maggie Marco from Albania, representing the World Youth Parliament for Water. And we are very happy to have joined the WASAC framework as partners recently, and hopefully to continue collaborating throughout the next phases of WASAC as well. First, I want to say that when it comes to this is a shared responsibility. And just like the younger generation and the older generation, we need to work together to make sure that we are building a food secure world. And that also means that we need to join hands to co-design and collaborate together, especially to maximize the efforts where we can deliver something that's actually more impactful and meaningful for generations to come as well. When it comes to forgotten crops, I could say maybe bluntly, it is somehow generally unknown to younger people, especially when it comes to countries that don't really have a priority on educating the general public on what it means to work as in agriculture and more on the details of what a farmer goes through that. Because as we see, oftentimes farmers actually try to probably switch with the time to leave the work behind that they were doing before, and that comes also a huge loss of knowledge and practice. So we also see less young people interested in continuing this work, which is quite literally one of the biggest reasons we continue to be healthy and continue to live among another. And especially in schools, we see that there is a lack of this kind of discussions about what it means to work in a farm, what are the elements that make our world more secure food-wise. So if I were to suggest something, first of all is communication, which is the biggest thing that we need to work the most so far. Because young people need to begin to learn what forgotten crops are and what is their value, and especially the opportunities they bring and how unique they are on their own sense. And of course, it means that you need to engage the media, and not only one form of media, as well as social media, as well as posters in the streets, because we need the general public to be aware of this. And of course, to make people aware, you need to speak their own language. You need to make it attractive, so young people can actually get interested to learn more about it. And I do think there is a huge opportunity, because when you talk about forgotten crops, you kind of are intrigued. You want to learn more. What is this? Especially as a young people, we want to know what actually, like the mysteries of the world. We want to find out and figure out things along the way. So I'm sure if young people actually learn about the forgotten crops, they would want to unveil this. They would want to make it known. And I think it also has one of a catch, maybe to a communication campaign that can attract the attention of many young people. And for that, we need to work on promoting the benefits. We learned about how valuable they are to when it comes to drought, when it comes to nutrition, and we want to find ways and be innovative to share this information and details with others. And for example, we can work locally through food fairs and introducing the people, the community, with these new crops, and having them actually buy, test, try out, and probably make them interested in why not producing this themselves. Another one could be popularizing food recipes. We have on TikTok, on Instagram, so many famous chefs. So why not work with them and actually make them produce some of their content around these crops, around this food that could be of interest for so many, because it's already one of a healthy benefit that the world is missing out, unfortunately. And yes, and if you think about the branding, which could be also intriguing, especially since we are living in a world that's impacted drastically by climate change. Something that can really actually attract the mind of young people are climate-smart foods, and this can be one. Utilizing these crops to produce climate-smart foods, just like we introduce veganism and vegetarian food, I'm sure young people will be willing to actually support this kind of initiatives that make them actually contribute even a little bit more to the situation on climate change. But for that, we need to work on modernizing farms as well. So if I can give an example in Albania, in this tree nursery, my friends have actually built a nice system, a smart irrigation system, which works with solar energy. And they utilize the water, they measure the soil water as well, and it automatically helps release the water when it's needed the most, helping, of course, make sure that the water is not wasted, or at least not damaging as well as to the resources. So we want to expand this and make sure that we can bring it closer to the farmers and communities, so make it something that's owned by them, and especially why not also introduce this kind of crops to them that could be a double effect when it comes to protecting our water resources. And I think we need to make these forgotten crops and indigenous knowledge resurface, and as something that's, of course, intriguing and a new opportunity for all the young people. Now, if we think about more business-wise, just like I mentioned before, I'm sure that young people would be very intrigued as well to be ones who produce these climate-smart foods. And I'm sure there would be a lot of willingness to have audience that can buy into these things. And young people, to do this, they need support. They need a hand to go towards that. It's not easy to have an own land. It's not easy to test these crops out and see how they can work with them. So for that, we need the older generation to continue creating spaces for young people who want to get into these fields and support them throughout this. And of course, that means also involving the young people in every related project that's about these crops. Why not have them also be co-designers of the same ideas as well? And definitely, we need to work more in developing policies that can facilitate wider adoption through subsidies. And also one other thing that I just got reminded of is that in one kindergarten in Albania, they have a leisure activity which is basically planting vegetables, and they utilize the vegetables afterwards. Maybe this can be like something that we can try to also introduce these crops and have these children work hands-on on these very important topics and learn more and have them and grow with them as well. So it's a very good way to introduce from the younger age and also introduce the younger generation as well about the possibilities and these opportunities that these crops can give.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Maggie, for also sharing your insights and also contextualizing with an example from Albania. And I'm glad that you also mentioned not only the youth, but also the younger generation as well. I'll just throw in a comment. Earlier this year, my 2-year-old son planted a vegetable. And so anyone among us who is yet to plant a vegetable, just know you're lagging behind a 2-year-old somewhere in Fiumicino. But just to segue to Jan for a very brief comment, she mentioned something about creating space for the youth. I would like you to just shed some light on space to the youth within the Global Framework for Water Scarcity in Agriculture in WASAG. Then we can move to the next presentation.
Thank you, George. WASAG is the Global Framework on Water Scarcity in Agriculture. It's a partnership hosted by FAO, and the partners consist of governments, of UN agencies and IFIs, of NGOs and civil society, research institutions and academia, as well as private sector organizations, social enterprises, and foundations. The youth, as you can see to my left, are very important, extremely important. Last year during the World Water Forum in FAO, I was called to the concluding session where we're making stock of what happened, and the youth were very vocal, mostly expressing their desires to have things done better. And I told them, I was once a youth, and I didn't see the time passing. And before you know it, you'll also be on the other side. And this is why it's extremely important to involve you from the onset so that you can take full responsibility, you can get full exposure, and you can be very, very early enough part of the solution. Because I think if you think that the world population is growing and it will be hitting 10 billion by the time you reach my age, I can assure you that you'll have a tougher time than me doing your job. So you better be involved from now.
Excellent. Responsibility, exposure, and part of the solution. Quick question to Ms. Felicitas again. Yes, I see you online. You're as Feli. So, Feli, could you share any plans or initiatives your team, that is WASAG, is pursuing to upscale this current awesome project within Malawi and in other countries or regions? And how do you envision ensuring its sustainability and impact at a larger scale?
Thank you, George. Yes, when I'm not at work, I'm called Feli. So as WASAC, we are actively working to upscale the project. First of all, the project in Malawi. We are working so hard to try and compile everything that we have achieved. I know we just saw a 10-minute video, but there's a lot that is happening behind the scenes. We are documenting stories. This video that you saw, it's a small clip of a whole documentary that we are coming up with. So we will use those materials for resource mobilization. And for Malawi, we would like to look at other crops beyond sorghum and cowpeas, and also expand to other regions and districts in Malawi, and also explore additional entry points such as the school meals program, because with these opportunity crops, they are nutritious. They can be used in for school meals, serving sorghum, serving cowpeas within a school meals program. So we will start developing a proposal together with my colleagues in Malawi. We also have colleagues in Angola who are interested, who heard about AWSAME and were interested. And we also developed a proposal. And now we are at a stage where we are talking to different potential donors who can fund this project. What I liked about Angola is they're also interested to have these opportunity crops as part of their food composition tables. So for those who don't know, food composition tables, it's a detailed database that shows all the nutritional profiling of different foods. So by that, you will know how to address different nutritional challenges within a country if we incorporate these opportunity crops within the tables. And then, like I highlighted before, within our division, we are also building synergies with other projects. Like I said, we are building synergies with SOFE in Mozambique and Tunisia, where we are going to integrate the AWSAME component into the ongoing soil mapping activities. And is one of the key outcomes of a small grant that we had from the flexible voluntary contributions. We developed 4 global proposals, which now serve as valuable tools for a broader resource mobilization activities. And then moving forward, I think we are committed to working in partnerships with governments, with foundations, with IFIs. We are ready to collaborate with more players and actively look for funding opportunities to take this project to scale both in Malawi and beyond. We would like to see AWSAME in Asia, in Latin America. So in a nutshell, George, that's what I can say. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Felistus. And keyword partnerships. The WASAG is key component is partnerships. We have a team leader here, Mr. Jean Boroto, who will engage with all of us within the room and also share a QR code where you can also reach out to us to engage more. I'll move to Dr. Noli from Ponya, and she will share with us a brief presentation highlighting promoting indigenous drought-resilient crops for food nutrition, income, and climate change adaptation in Malawi. I know she's shared some, so I'm sure she'll be brief. And over to you, Nolifa.
Yeah, hello, George and the rest.
You can show the slides, Jason. Thank you. Hello, Nolifa. We can hear you. Go ahead.
You want me to be brief? Okay, I'll try as much as possible. When you have a lot of stories to tell, it's always difficult, All right, so who is sharing the slides?
Share the slides.
Next, please. Well, I would dwell much on this diagram, which is, I find it so interesting. This is a result of a study that we did in one of the semi-arid districts in Malawi. We did a study to understand the extent of cultivation of the local species by farmers. The results were really quite interesting. That of the Malawi has got over 100 crop species that are being cultivated across the country. But of these, only 6 crops have received so much attention in terms of research. And these crops include rice, maize, beans, groundnut, soybean, and sweet potatoes, okay, is on the list of food crops. But then when we did this study, it was quite interesting that of these crops, it was only maize. It was only maize here, and sweet potato somewhere down there that were listed as among the priority crops by the farmers being cultivated across the district. And when I got these results, I tried to correlate with the information that is being generated by the Ministry of Agriculture on agricultural production. It's really indicating that, you know, the majority of Malawian population are really supported with the neglected crops. That most of the food that we eat here, we consume here, or being sold on the markets, local, you talk of local markets, even in supermarkets, it's from these neglected crops, making them the most important crops that underpin the food and nutritional security of the majority of Malawians, as well as income, sources of income for majority of rural population. You know, when I cross-checked this with our seed policy, for sure it is recognizing that 70% of the seed source is from these neglected crops. And then I was wondering, because, you know, generally the characteristics of a smallholder farmer, you will not get them having a land of more than a hectare. It's commonly less than a hectare. And yet, as a country, we've been promoting improved hybrid varieties. And for decades now, since the first variety was released in Malawi, farmers are still cultivating neglected crops or underutilized crops. And then we're asking, why have we been wasting time putting across a number of extension messages to encourage farmers to adopt and cultivate improved varieties? And yet up to now, up to date, a farmer chooses to still cultivate the neglected crops. That alone tells us a story that there is a reason, or there are some reasons behind the farmer's choice to continue with the cultivation of these neglected crops. You know, a farmer is just so wise. He is unmovable with all these messages. Basically, he knows what he wants. Next slide, please. Yeah, just to concur with the first slide with the graph of the extent of cultivation of underutilized crops. This graph, we did another research, and this one was, you know, we are assessing the threat that is being posed in these underutilized crops in the Shire Valley, where the government of Malawi is, trying to promote commercialization of a number of crops across a huge area of land. And so when we did some threat assessment and trying to estimate the extent of cultivation of improved varieties versus local varieties, it was quite funny that the similar results were obtained for sorghum and cowpeas varieties. First, you see in the sorghum graph that of all all those varieties that are being cultivated by farmers, only 2 varieties are improved varieties. There is Pirira 1 and Pirira 2. They are the only varieties that were released, I think, by the government of Malawi in collaboration with the IGRISAT. But still farmers have chosen or chose to still cultivate the varieties of local varieties of sorghum or non-improved varieties of sorghum. When you go to cowpeas, similar. For cowpeas, it was really so funny to see that there are a number of varieties of cowpeas that have been released by IATA, but you see from that graph, none of those promoted varieties or improved varieties are being cultivated by farmers. And so, looking at these results, we had to probe further to say, what is it really that is the problem? Or why are you not adopting the improved varieties? So there were a number of reasons that the farmer had mentioned, some of which have already been mentioned by my colleague Felicitas. They talked of issues of, some of these crops are attached to their cultural beliefs, issues of nutrition, and you talk of climate resilience, and many other, issues, including, having low production costs when you compare to beans. For example, you talk of cowpeas. Like last year, it fetched the same prices as maize, as beans. But when you compare the production cost of cowpeas to beans, it's really cost effective to go for cowpeas compared to beans. Next slide, please. And so because of that, really when AWSAME initiative was introduced to us, we thought this is an opportunity to utilize the collection of germplasm that is at the National Gene Bank, take it out to the on station for experimentation by involving farmers to select what they would want them to cultivate, because we already know that much as we would force on them improved varieties, probably they would not prefer them for some other reasons. And so we're saying, let's go the farmer way, not a researcher way. Let's go on a farmer way for us to make an impactful solution. Next slide, please. And that's why our approach was just so intentional. Next slide, please. Our approach was just so intentional. We started with mapping the interventions after having the knowledge of the gaps that are there and the challenges the farmers are facing and issues to do with the seed systems of those underutilized crops. And so from there, after identifying those gaps, we needed to build the capacity to undertake the activities that had been planned for this initiative. And so from there, we had to do the field work, which involved the characterization, evaluation, and variety identification, of course, involving stakeholders. That was the first approach of the first phase. And into the second phase, we are going to do the drought screening of the same material that have been identified in the field experimentation. And this one will go under irrigated experimentation, where we are going to use the chameleon sensor for drought screening. We will take the very same material and undertake the screen house experimentation. Of course, here we are going to assess drought at the seedling stage. Just maybe to inform you, it's not me doing all this work. We are a number of us. We are a team. We've got agronomists, we have got hydrologists, we have got nutritionists who will be taking part in a different component of this work. And so thereafter, we are going to take the very same material and do the nutritional profiling, because we understand that, a variety can also be promoted on the basis of its nutritional composition, not necessarily productivity or high yielding. And so from there, we are going to promote these materials. For this project specifically, we are going to conduct a seed food fair where we will have a number of stakeholders being invited, including the youth, the school children, we call the school children or students, and extension workers, Probably we are also going to invite agro dealers just to lobby them into the promotion of these materials. That will be the end for this pilot phase. But further than that, we are also going to advance these materials because we are working with breeders. We know, as Felistus has said, that they are mobilizing resources for the upscaling. We are saying, as we are waiting for that, we have breeders who are working with us. They are going to advance these materials. When the resources come, at least maybe they will get us at the stage when we are almost ready for the release of these materials. So currently, we've managed to do the environmental experimentation of the materials that we are in the gene bank, managed to engage the stakeholders, including farmers, extension workers, for participatory variety selection, and identified some varieties that were preferred by farmers based on their high yielding, branching system, disease resistance, and other characteristics. So in this picture, basically we were collecting data on agronomic performance of cowpeas in the field. But much maybe to the interest of the audience is just to try to demonstrate, you see, the soils really are so dry. This was the time when we had not received the rains for 3 weeks, 21 days. And by then, the cowpeas had not yet flowered. But look, it flowered without rains. It started podding, and now the pods are going into maturity phase without rains, demonstrating that for sure cowpea is indeed a resilient and climate adaptation crop that should be promoted across the country and along the lakeshore and in some arid zones, not only of Malawi, but of all those countries that would be extended to.
Nalifa, we have 2 minutes to go.
Next. Yeah, that was just a participatory evaluation where we engaged the farmers and extension officers and some researchers in identification of the varieties. That was in another region, that was southern region of Malawi. Next, please. That is the laboratory data collection. We are looking at the seed color. As you know, seed color is correlated to nutrition, as well as, taste and cooking time. Next. Yeah, so what are we saying? It is good to know that for cowpeas, sorghum, bambara, and other crops, they are commonly exchanged across the SADC region. We have got a lot of germplasm exchange and request across the SADC region for such kind of crops. And so we are saying, if there is really need for upscaling regionally, such kind of crops should be considered. Because as you promote these crops, for example, if Malawi targets sorghum and cowpeas and maybe other crops, and then Mozambique targets other crops, the gains from Malawi, and Mozambique will benefit from the gains of Malawi, and likewise Malawi will benefit from the gains of Mozambique because there is a lot of cross-border germplasm exchange. But much to that is the emphasis to consider developing the seed systems of these materials by evaluating them, release them, and formally register them. Like for case of Malawi, I think there's a provision in our policy that we can promote, we can continue developing the varieties of the neglected crop species, and at least to address the gap that is there. The 70% gap need to be addressed by, continuing with the promotion, developing the seed systems, and, release and formally register these varieties in our national catalog. And so what are we saying then? We are saying, it is possible to attain food, nutrition, and income security. For sure, it is indeed possible to attain or to improve climate change adaptation of most of these farmers, because it has been demonstrated, and we have seen, especially like in the southern region, it was so dry, but cowpeas did very well. And as I'm talking now, I will tell you that we have received the demands because we involved the farmers during the participatory variety selection. now we have a huge demand for seed. Even before we release these materials, the demand is already there, and we cannot manage to suffice with the small quantities of the seeds that we have. Meaning that the willingness to adopt these kind of materials is already there. And so what remains for us is just to help these farmers, develop these materials, package the agronomic practices so that when we share the varieties or release the varieties, let it go as a complete package to them. Next, please. Yeah, thank you so much. Felistas has already talked of, upscaling across the region, across other districts in Malawi and across borders. So I will not talk on that one. But basically, maybe just to end my presentation with the acknowledging FAO for support, and my colleagues from the Malawi Plant Genetic Resources for, working so hard in implementing these activities, as well as farmers, other research staffs, and extension services department for supporting and for actively being involved in such kind of initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nolifa. Indeed, it's very important you highlighted food, nutrition, and income security for climate change adaptation, which resonates quite well with the theme for the World Water Week this year. For the next, the final panelist, Dr. Krishna Devokta, senior scientist in ICARDA. So, Dr. Whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Okay, can you just show my slide? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. I hope you are listening, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's good. Then, I will be talking mostly about the dried and loose crops or neglected and underutilized crop species in the dryland system for improving the resilience and food security. Myself is Krishna Devokta. I'm senior scientist, dryland farming and crop simulation modeling also. And ICARDA, we have office mainly in many dry region countries, and I am working based in Morocco, mainly in North Africa and West African countries. Next slide, please. Dryland. Dryland means it is the home for almost like 2 billion people, and at this region has acute challenges of water scarcity, recurrent extreme temperature, and widespread soil degradation, declining soil health, that all together jeopardize food security and climate change. Here in my talk, I'll be focusing more about the MENA region and sub-Sahara Africa. So here also we have significant portion of the land under dryland system. And dryland covers nearly almost half of the old land surface. This supports 44% of the old food production and 50% of the livestock. At the same time, they are the home of 30% of the old population, and with 16% of the people living in chronic poverty are in dryland. And in dryland, very important is water resources. Here are extremely limited, and less than 8% of the global renewable water is available for the dryland system, which covers almost half of the global land, and everything under 1,300 cubic meters per person annually. That means, can you click another one? Another animation. Another slide. Go. Hello? Yeah. Okay. Maybe you go in another slide. Next slide. So my point is dryland, and in this talk, I'll be focusing more about 22 MENA region countries and 21 neglected and underutilized crop species. In this paper, zone is also here as well as our. And here we analyzed the benefits of the 21 neglected crops in MENA region as well as SDGs region countries. And we compared them with the major food crops, rice, wheat, and maize in the global context. Next slide. Yeah. Next slide. Okay, this is one. So here, neglected and underutilized crops means are those 21 crops covered mostly, as John said in the beginning, on indigenous crop or forgotten crop or orphan crops or abundant crops, whatever name we give, all is like underutilized or alternative crops. So if we see the global area of the loose crop, it is significant, quite significant. And even in the MENA region, around 17 million hectare area is under loose crops. If you see this area in SSA, Sub-Saharan Africa, around 151 million hectare is under this alternative crops, mainly millet, groundnut, coffee, and cocoa, dry beans, sesame, planting, etc. My point here is those are really are already far ahead in terms of area coverage if they remain underutilized. In terms of, especially in terms of three aspects. One is research, another is policy, and third one is market. Another slide. For the detail of this study, I would like to request the participants to go to the paper. Yeah, next slide. Then, from this study, what we found is alternative crops has huge potential. Actually, a lot of calculation were behind. We used mainly the FAO-STAT data, USDA data, and several secondary published data, as well as primary results are also there. Then our finding is like loose crops, mainly alternative crops, has the highest water productivity compared to all the major staples like that is rice, wheat, and maize, which has less than 1 kg per cubic meter of the water application, water product. Next slide. Next, can you click? Yeah, there are any later. Okay. Similarly, heat tolerance. If you see the this photo in the right, this is the cowpea or one crop, yes. And as I listened from the earlier presenter, this is quite interesting and quite correct that coffee, sesame, and many other alternative crops tolerate higher level of temperature than our staple food crops. Similarly, calorie calculation was done under this study, and we found that actually I was saying loose crops or alternative crops are feeding, especially the sub-Saharan African countries, many countries, and almost like 75 trillion kilocalories is coming from the loose crops, especially. And globally, loose crop areas of, that is. Another, can you click? Sorry, I should have not had the keep animation. Can you click again? Yeah. Click again. Yeah, okay. Here, I have shown the result from one of our studies from Morocco. Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, Morocco. Like, what we found is we compared loose crops like quinoa, lentil, and with different crop rotation systems to compare the two. And what we found is, importantly, field crops in Morocco showed that integrating crops like quinoa and lentil improved protein yield, water use efficiency, gross margin, and even reduced greenhouse gas emissions. If you see this graph, all the results are here. These results highlight the potential for building both economic and environmental sustainability in drylands through use of loose crops or opportunities. Next slide. But there is an alarming signal if you see this. Alarming signal means when we see the import-export quantity, import-export value, and the trade balance, loose crop trade data shows that widening negative balance. Import of loose crops sharply increased in both, if you see this figure in this right side, increased in both quantity and value, while export remains very limited. The result in this is a consistent trade deficit, both in terms of volume and monetary value. So, global funding for we have the root crop. Yeah, in this slide, can you please? One more. There is animation again. Sorry. Yeah, if you see this figure, in many countries or many root crop area is declining. We have several opportunities or several benefits to highlight it. Several of us, and if you read the paper, many of the paper about root crop, all of them say a lot of benefits. However, its area in many countries are declining. If you see these crops in 21 countries, almost many countries is declining. Another slide. Yeah, so another slide. Next slide. Okay, good.
We have a little over a minute.
I'll finish in 2 minutes. What are the key challenges for the poor adoption? For the poor adoption,
sorry,
our
Krishna,
understanding is...
Krishna, you have a little over a minute to go, so yeah.
Okay. No, I'll finish in 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, low yield and profit in many cases, but it happened mainly because of the poor market price and less market opportunities. And less value addition. Poor seed system and genetics. Genetics is also a bit limited. And lack of agronomic packages. And consistent with the earlier speaker, I fully agree that agronomic packages for many of the opportunity crops are lacking. And even in the country scale, not available. Similarly, there are a lot of varieties and varieties. For example, Orobank and Triga are the major states as well here. Poor harvest processing, market linkage, mycotoxin, those are the list of the challenges. Can you please? Yeah, next slide. Yes, and to support those crops in the region, we had a few initiatives like that. ICADA is also supporting organizing conferences, conducting several on-station as well as on-farm experiments around root crops in Morocco and other countries do that. And there is egg meat also, and ICADA and other CD centers. We have CCI and dryland studies. Next slide. So here, message is challenges are here. But what can be done, what needs to be done for the wide scale adoption? This slide is last slide almost. Country-specific roadmap we needed for the wide scale scaling up of the root crops or alternative crops. Expand farmers' managed trials, as I was very happy listening to their presenters. This is very much required. And to support the seed system, community-based seed multiplication is very important. Tailored bundle of solutions and recommendations is very much needed. Mobilize public-private partnerships is quite important, and market interface, especially value addition. And database of root crops is almost no database is available, especially is water is expensive, nutrition, greenhouse gas emission reduction. Next slide. And partnership with development banks. From those pilots, my take-home message is 5 pillars. 5 pillars are very important when we really want to scale out the root crops or organization. One is system engineering, that needs to be a force. Second is soil, water, agronomy, and plant protection studies. Intercropping, rotation, developing fertilizer rate, developing planting rate. Many things are lacking. Third pillar is market and value addition. This is very much required for future alternative stuff. My fourth message is policy and science policy integration, especially to subsidize farmers, to provide incentives. This is very much needed. And fooding habit, as I listened from the earlier speaker also, branding, packaging, value addition, market linkage, and last but not least, digital advisories are needed. Next slide. Last but not least, can you go back? No, okay, no problem. Not least is promoting opportunity crops is not to sustain the food security. It is the roadmap towards resilience and African sustainable development goals, especially as John said in the beginning, 2, 6, and 13 plus other activities. Next slide. Yeah, that's I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Krishna. And with this, I'll open the floor for discussions, but because we're really pressed for time, for the audience here, we'll stay in the room even after this. And for the audience online, if you have any question or comment, we'll share a link and we'll try to please put your name and email, and later we'll get back to you with your feedback. I'd like us to move to the Mentimeter section, but before that, we can give a round of applause to Maggie and Jean as they take their seats. And yes, please join in the QR code. And there's also the menti.com, and the code there is 82997614. A few pointers is just 10 true or false questions, about 15 seconds to answer each questions. Most of the questions have been mentioned here. The faster you answer, the higher your position will be on the leaderboard. And the more likely you are to win our mystery box prizes in the corner over there. It was tough getting them through security, so they must be nice. Are we all online? Ready? Not yet? Yes, go ahead, please. Okay. I think, okay. So let's test your speed and knowledge. Okay. So, okay. Oh, sorry, what? Can you see question 1 on the Menti?
Can you go back to the QR code one?
Okay, can you see question 1?
Yes.
Not yet?
George, I can't see the link. Oh, am I supposed to respond with the team?
Okay, it started. Tanya, our support staff here has quick, okay. Next one. No? Wait, sorry. Yes, true. Groundwater accounts for almost 97% of global freshwater withdrawals. Okay, we'll go to the third one. True, agriculture is second, just behind the service sector. That is true, and indeed supporting smallholders is essential for scaling opportunity crops globally. Might introduce a rule to penalize people who try to whisper answers here. Yes, indeed, food production must increase by 70%. We just passed halfway, so the answer to that is true. Opportunity crops can help reduce overdependence, as highlighted by Felicitas, Nolifer, and Krishna. Babette whispers very loudly. I can hear. Oh, please, great. I'm happy to see this score. Answer to that is false. Micronutrient deficiencies, especially hidden hunger, are equally dangerous. We go to the last two. Yes, this is true. And for example, millets rich in iron and calcium can help fight the hidden hunger. And to the last one. Jean, I think we'll have to penalize you. SDG 6 focuses on ensuring clean access to water and sanitation. Jean, I'll invite you to the stage to make a quick closing remark in under a minute, and just give a round of applause to all of us for participating. And
the future is partnership so that we can make this a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And after this, I think we'll give some presents to Maggie, who's disqualified. So we go to Babette, gets a bottle, and Tanya and Lola and Maher. So thank you all. I'd like to thank the support IT staff, Andreas and Jonas, and also the support volunteers, Krishna, so not Krishna, Tanya and Dhruv. Thank you all, and yeah, thank you, and we look forward to engaging more. Thank you.
There's still more.